That it's not that, oh, now they're holding me back. They're not. I'm good. I'm on a trajectory, and I'm going to continue the right path, the good path, the path of righteousness and good.
Now we back to being good. And did this man just say the path of righteousness?
Urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And you know one thing about Phil? Phil is great at talking himself into a corner. But the only thing about that is he's terrible at talking himself out of that same corner. This man is really in a love-hate relationship with reality. It really is a toxic relationship. So let's get into it.
Fed Roger says, wasn't that the original idea of the Level 1 podcast, DSP Asks It? I don't remember exactly what I was going to call it, but if you remember, I had an idea of a show where it was supposed to be an interview show, and I wanted to get people from all different walks of life, and it was going to be me interviewing them about various topics, right? Like that was the original idea I had like 2 years ago that I wanted to implement, and it just never came to be. We did do the DSP versus the Internet React show. That came to be. And then we did do the DSP Throwbacks channel. That came to be. But we never went through with the other idea, mostly because, again, it's not that I don't want to branch out. It's that people are afraid of my detractors. And it's...
Now, throughout this video, this is going to be a theme for Phil. The detractors, the detractors, the detractors, the song and dance that we've all seen and heard before. But realistically speaking, when we're talking about somebody like a DarksydePhil and him interviewing people from quote unquote all different walks of life, Phil doesn't have the knowledge base, the think tank to really go tit for tat with people like that, nor does he even know what questions to ask those people to get a good answer so the audience could be educated through the experience that they're having. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't care enough about those things to put the actual time in that you would need to actually make it work.
Sucks because like to be honest, I'm immune to my detractors at this point. Like, they just don't affect me anymore. The stuff that they say and do has literally zero impact on my life. I just ignore it and I move on my merry way. But other people who aren't used to having that level of attention given to them, doxing, online account harassment, etc., they can be shocked by it. All right. To be honest with you, I honestly think there's a few people who today I could have had on this show who would have been nice guests and interviews for this Christmas marathon. And the one reason they didn't want to do it is because they were afraid if they did, then they get negative attention from these crazy people on the internet.
No, Phil, that's just what they told you. See, Phil doesn't understand his infamy and why people don't want to be tied to him in any way, shape, form, or fashion, because all it's going to do is serve to sully their brand in some type of way. There's nothing that they can gain from this. So a lot of them will use the detractors as an excuse not to deal with you, Phil, because it's just an easy way out. They don't have to go tit for tat with you. They know if they mention detractors, you're going to throw your hands up and say you understand and probably give them some sob story, and they're just going to send you on your way.
And I can't fault them for it, nor do I ever have hard feelings towards them because of it. Same thing where previously I had people lined up to be like guests on the Level 1 podcast last year, and they backed out for the same reason. And it's like, at this point, it has nothing to do with me anymore.
No, it sounds like somebody used that excuse and then everybody else seen that it worked, or they told the other people that the excuse worked. And so the other people came to you with it, because none of them really wanted to do anything for you, Phil. Because like I said before, you being associated with anyone else can only be a net negative. You're the only one that's going to gain anything from it. This is why a lot of people in the sphere that you're in don't want to have anything to do with you. You're going to hurt their brand, Phil. It's not that difficult to understand.
Like, I'm not the problem. People have seen that I'm a fun interviewer. I'm a good person to have interaction with in one of these podcast settings. I'm not the problem. The problem is the nut jobs on the internet, the hate mob of idiots who are autistic, hyper-focused losers who can't stop hyper-focusing on, hey, Phil's a lolcow, Phil's a lolcow. Well, I'm not anymore. I'm not doing the stuff that you want. The stuff you used to make fun of me for doesn't exist.
You see how he said he's not anymore, as if he went to some collegiate institution and he graduated and now he no longer wears the title of lolcow, According to who, Phil? Because you would like to make it seem as if detractors are just making things up, but I've said this before. A lot of what you see is just you uncut, Phil. So again, when you talk about context, what really are you talking about? You can make it seem as if we're just making these things up, but people have literally hours upon hours of footage of you saying and doing the dumbest shit imaginable, at least for an internet personality. But I guess we all just made that up, right?
You make it up because you're idiots, because you've latched onto this online parasocial existence where you all are this weird mess of a community that relies on making fun of me. But you can't make fun of me anymore because I'm not doing the stuff that you can make fun of. So instead you lie or you make it up, or, oh, someone supported Phil today, I'll go dox them and harass them. What does that have to do with me?
So you're not raging no more, Phil. You're not begging for money no more, Phil. You're not still terrible at video games, Phil. All you've done is increase the resolution on the things that we already seen you doing, Phil. It doesn't matter that the presentation has gotten better. What we're seeing is still the same. You think because you've added some level of production that somehow is going to change you. And at the end of the day, that was the thing that needed to change the most. But over time, that's the thing that changed the least. So it doesn't matter how many new microphones you get. The problem has been and always will be you.
Nothing. But sadly, it means that I just can't really do certain things that I would love to do. I would love to have a chill show where I can have guests on and we can talk about topics and just hang out and have a good time and talk about what they're working on and give them some promotion. How can I do that when every time that I talk to someone, all their shit gets tossed on Kiwi Farm?
You only can do stuff like that when you've built good rapport in a community over the course of time, Phil. That is a legacy role that you're talking to. That's something like a Maximilian or, people who've been in the sphere for a long time so they can branch out and do other things, even though we know what they're known for. You know what I'm saying? They just have a level of notoriety. That's the lane that Phil would like to be in because those are his contemporaries. But what he's attempting to do is cut to the front of the line. This is like somebody, the first 10 or 15 years of their adult life, they're on drugs, they're in and out of jail, they continue to make bad decisions, right? And then roughly around 35 years old, they finally get their life together, but now they're frustrated because they're not in the same place as the guy or girl who made all the right decisions when they first came into adulthood. And now they're getting into their late 30s, early 40s, and they live comfortable now. And now there's this level of envy. And it's like, Phil, you're trying to have the best of both worlds, and it doesn't work like that. At some point, you're going to have to actually do the real work to fix the problem. And that can be in your youth or it can be in your latter years. But it's going to be a lot harder if you allow yourself to mature in the fashion that you're in, because we know how old people are, man. They stuck in their ways. They don't give a damn. So it's better to do it when you're young. But unfortunately for you, Phil, that time has passed. And here we are.
And they end up in 10 detractor defamation videos that have nothing to do with reality. That's not me. So, that is what it is. But I would love to do a show like that. And I'd love to do it as early as next year. Like I would legit like to have maybe a rotating list of guests who are hosts to talk about various topics we could update each other on and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I would love that. But could it ever be viable? Do you think it would ever be possible? Because you get to a point where it's like, I would love to branch out and do more content, but it's not me. I'm not the roadblock anymore. At one point I was. At one point, I was the guy who was like, no, I'm in my comfort zone. I'm just going to sit here and stream games all day. But I like doing new things now. Like today, I genuinely did not want to do another Christmas marathon that was identical to all the others. I like the fact that it wasn't about fundraising. It wasn't about hitting a goal and taking a shot. And I like that we had guests on. Like those were 3 big changes that ended up being very fun for me on this marathon. I want to keep those positive changes going in the right direction.
Phil, those changes are not big. You're still sitting in the chair running your mouth. You're not offering anything that's different than what you normally offer. You had Ethan Ralph on your damn show and some clown that nobody know who he even fucking is or where he even came from. All right. What really are you talking about? So when you were trying to pool your resources to get a guest on your big Christmas marathon, the best you could muster was Ethan Ralph, bro. But you constantly talking about how you in demand and all these other things. But the best you can do is get somebody that some people will argue are beneath you in terms of the things that they've done wrong morally. It's just crazy.
But I don't really know how to do that when the factor is not me anymore. Like, again, literally, I had people who were interested in coming on today, and I think they backed out because of this risk factor. And I get it. Like, I get that. But that's not something I control, you see?
Imagine, what was it, a year ago, Phil, when you linked up with Kino Casino and you were on the verge of actually coming clean about WWE champions. Just think about, had you come clean back then, where you could potentially be now. Because what you want is a process. You would like for it to happen overnight, but all the things and bad karma that you put into the universe, you didn't do that overnight. You did that cumulatively over time, and you put a lot of bad shit out there. So naturally, all that stuff has to come back, and it's going to come back in some things you recognize and other things you're not going to recognize. And it just is what it is. And until that is satisfied and that is made whole, you're going to be where you are. Realistically speaking, it's going to take you about 5 years, 3 to 5 years, trying to act completely different than what you used to act in order for people to take this so-called change seriously. You think because you've been, I guess, kind of acting a little bit better according to you for the last 2 or 3 weeks that's somehow supposed to undo 15 years? Like, come on.
That would be cool too. Dunsfelter says, what about a panel of guests, 2 or 3 at once instead of one? We could do that, right? All you got to do is you invite them to the call, the group call on Discord. Yeah, for sure.
Or why don't you have your dents on, Phil? Why don't you let them call in on special occasions like your Christmas marathon and actually have a word with their Führer, with their king, with their emperor? Why not? Right? They've been paying the king's tax all year, right? What does the king tax actually get them? Could they at least have a word with you, Phil? My goodness. I mean, you were reaching out to everybody else, but I'm sure if you reached out to one of your dents, you would nearly have to pull teeth in the same way you did with other people, Phil. That would be easy. And people would watch it.
Imagine if it was like me and Asmongold and maybe 1 or 2 other creators, and we're all talking about the state of the games industry, right? How the AAA studios are failing and the mistakes they're making, why? What the smaller range or smaller style games we've all been playing and enjoying that are much better than the AAA games. And it'd be like an hour discussion. I think that would be an amazing piece of content for the internet.
This man has truly lost his mind. Phil, those guys are not your peers. Not even close. What you're trying to do, this will be like Deion Sanders and Lawrence Taylor having a panel and somebody like, I don't know, some, third string kicker or something saying we should all sit down and talk. Like, nobody's going to be listening to what you're saying, dude. You're the flunky, you just hear, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, we want to hear what those guys have to say. And ultimately, Phil, when they look at you like a joke, And how is Asmongold going to pitch you to other people that could potentially be on the panel? Like, you don't understand the position that you're putting other people in. He would naturally have to become your advocate, your attorney, essentially. He would have to convince those people to endure you. It's not going to happen.
Everyone would enjoy that. Could I do that? Or are people going to be like, oh, we're terrified of being on there because, Phil's association, we don't want our private lives being thrown up on Kiwi farms, right? It's bullshit. It really is bullshit. I'm tired of this shit. It gets to the point where, no, I've grown, I've matured, I'm done with the past. I'm ready for the future. Look, I'm ready. Everything around me is ready. The set is ready. The equipment is ready. I'm ready. Everything is ready. What's holding it back? These fuckheads who have latched onto my ass and won't let go.
See, the issue with what you're saying right now, Phil, is had you listened to the detractors and what they were saying, instead of listen to be upset, but actually listen to progress, you would have gleaned something from what they were saying and you would have practically applied what you were listening to. Because when you listen to some of what the detractors are saying, a lot of us are telling you what you should do. Now, we not saying it, we're not mincing words, we're not wearing kid gloves when we give it to you, but people are giving you advice. People for the longest time told you should stop begging. People for the longest time told you that your podcast is too long. You should play games more. You should be more giving to the people who have been so giving to you. But you railed against those things. It wasn't until the so-called Asmongold tours came into the scene that your ears got bigger. And that was simply because the money was flowing in. So you felt like you had to play this character. But ultimately, that was never who you were. But had you approximated a little bit of that, maybe you'd be in a different place right now. But the truth is, Phil, we're too far beyond that because you've been on this path for so damn long. And it's going to take a whole hell of a lot to convince people that you're not doing the same things that you've been doing. You've lied so much about so much shit for so long. You have zero credibility. It just is what it is.
Because they realize this is our gravy train. And the moment that we unlatch from Phil's asshole, now we have nothing because no one actually watches us except for when we're talking about DarksydePhil. So.
Well, that's the point of a channel. I mean, isn't your channel a quote unquote gaming channel? Okay, so that means most people would not be watching you if you were not playing games, right, Phil? I guarantee you, if you try to do a podcast just for a week straight and play no games, your viewership would drop off. So if it wasn't for video game developers, Phil, you wouldn't have a YouTube channel. You wouldn't have this so-called career that you keep boasting about.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Dark MB, thanks for another $10. He says, I wish the detractors a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope their hearts will grow like the Grinch's next year. They'll be more positive. Well, here's the thing. In truth, I don't actually believe that the amount of people who actually make that content actually dislike me. They just see it as money. They're seeing a check come in because people are dumb and like that content and support it because they are dumb. Like literally that content is for dumb people. If all you do is sit around and hate on someone, you're dumb. Because
see, this narrative can only work for people who are ignorant to how YouTube monetization works. All right. Nobody is rolling in dough because they're detracting on DarksydePhil. I mean, you might be one or two people in this whole entire sphere that's making any real money that's worth talking about. All right. A lot of us just do this in our spare time. It's a hobby and we have fun with it, Phil. Real talk. And a lot of our channels are not even monetized. So again, what really are you talking about? This is you once again projecting, because we know that finances govern everything that you do. So naturally you feel like other people will operate the same way.
You should be focusing on yourself and positivity and growing and doing good things for yourself. If you're wasting all your time hating on someone else, you're actually legit dumb. So all they're doing is they're preying on the stupid, and the stupid don't realize it because they're not self-aware. They're just like cows chewing their cud all day, and they just keep throwing attention and money at those people. So, you know, it's ridiculous, but that's what I don't think these people are like, oh, I'm going to grow self-consciousness and I'm going to stop making content about Phil. No, the gravy train's too good for them. YouTube allows them to monetize the hate. So because of that, they're never going to stop unless YouTube shuts it down and says, we've decided not to monetize this bullying content anymore. They will keep doing it no matter what. They'll literally make shit up every single day that doesn't exist. The Phil only made $16 on a Pokemon stream literally has never happened ever in my entire streaming history that I've only made $16 on a Pokemon stream and I rage quit. That's literally the title of a video a detractor put out in the last couple of weeks.
See, but how are you so familiar with all this detractor content that you also have no real knowledge of? You state specifics about things. You mentioned the title of a video that came out a couple weeks ago. This is how much this was on your mind that you remembered. You were able to recall it in real time, but you don't care about it, right, Phil? I mean, come on.
That's the garbage, the slop that they put out. That's absolutely correct, Emperor Ferbs. But here's the thing. I've already said this. The detractors no longer affect me. You understand that, right? Like no matter what they say and do, I'm still good. I have enough people who like me, who enjoy the content. They come by, they support it. I'm good.
But you just said that you can't get collaborations. You can't get people to come onto your podcast or you on theirs because they're worried about what these so-called detractors are going to do to you. You see how confused he is? You see how the serpent always speaks with a forked tongue? You see how he's unstable, so therefore he's double-minded. His brain is very binary. He has a really hard time recognizing nuance. This is why he ends up talking himself into these illogical circles that only make sense to him. Anybody that's paying attention to this shit know that this is hogwash. Phil, you're just talking in circles, man. You've been talking for the last, better part of 20 minutes, and you haven't really said anything. In fact, you've looped a couple times.
The problem now is I want to grow. I want to change. I want to expand. I want to turn into something better and different. And now people are afraid to participate in that because of that. That's the difference here. You understand? So that's what pisses me off.
So you had one of the biggest streamers on the platform showcase you, Phil, right? Did he get doxxed? Is he on Kiwi Farms? Did somebody swat him? Like, what are you talking about? If anybody on the internet has any level of notoriety or any celebrity whatsoever, even outside of the internet, they're going to have people that dislike them just as strongly as the people who like them. It's always been like that, right? There, people are polarizing when you start to get into certain spheres of influence, all right? So what you're talking about is not unique to you. It's just you have no idea how to navigate it. And your solution to the problem is to sit here and say that you have no solution to the problem and to beg people to feel sorry for you. And this is why you'll never have any real big long-term viewership, because there's just not that many people out there that are gullible enough to believe the bullshit that you're saying, Phil.
That it's not that, oh, now they're holding me back. They're not. I'm good. I'm on a trajectory, and I'm going to continue the right path, the good path, the path of righteousness and good.
Now we back to being good. And did this man just say the path of righteousness? Y'all gotta forgive me, man. The things that come out of this dude's mouth. And this is why I say it doesn't matter what this guy says, man. He will say anything. And this is very indicative of addict behavior. And I'm always going to go back to that, because at the root of all of this, that's Phil's main problem. And if he ever took care of that, got therapy, went to AA or whatever they do to mitigate that problem, that would naturally take care of the lot of side effects that comes with that problem. He is the way he is because he's chasing a damn ghost. And like I know, you ain't catching that damn ghost. All it's going to do is run you dry, run you tired. You're going to look up and it's still going to be running and you ain't going to have nothing left.
Good content and awesome positivity moving forward. I'm happy. But I can't do other content that I know would be great. I'm being held back. I don't like that. What it really is going to take, it's going to take someone like Asmongold or someone else who's of a large stature to say, we're also immune to this level of bullshit. And we're going to actually branch out with Phil and do stuff with Phil so that now the common person won't be afraid of this shit anymore.
You see how he's trying to turn himself into a charity case? So it wasn't enough for the guy, the biggest guy on the platform, to do it. Other people have to do it as well. Like somebody owes you something. Phil, you've been on this platform for 2 decades. When have you showcased someone else? When have you given anyone else a signal boost at all whatsoever? But here you are once again. Look how ungrateful he is. We barely a month removed from Asmongold giving him the biggest layup of his life. And here he is floundering again with the same wells that he's been with and not knowing what to do. I said, man, you just cannot make this shit up. It's crazy.
Because to be frank with you, yeah, in the last month, things have been doing well. But at the same time, look how many of the Asmongold viewers aren't around anymore. And a lot of it probably has to do with the detractors.
You see that? So Phil is sinking in now that the Asmongold viewership is gone, right? But there's a level of uncertainty in his voice because he says probably has something to do with the detractor. Meaning what? I'm just going to blame it on the detractors by default. I know it was me. Phil, the truth of the matter is you didn't have anything lined up for those people. Nothing at all. And when the spotlight was on you, you shrank. Now, did you seize the moment to create the opportunity? Sure. During the interview or the conversation that y'all had, you did what you were supposed to do. You snatched the crown. You did. but you did not do what was necessary to maintain the crown. You do not understand attrition. You do not understand timing. You don't understand striking when the iron is hot. You come on the back end a week, 2 weeks later, and are asking people who are not even there anymore, what do they want you to do? Like I said, man, you cannot make this stuff up, dude. This guy has no idea what to do. He never does. And now here he is asking for more charity. Can somebody else please platform me? It's pathetic.
They see the negativity. They see the harassment. They're like, well, I don't want to be, sadly, wrapped up in that crap. I like Phil's content. Maybe I'll watch from afar. I'll watch from a distance, but I'm not going to engage. I'm happy for those who have stayed and engaged. That's really nice of them. Who they've stayed. They're liking the content. They're leaving comments. They're supporting it. That's amazing. But at the same time, you know that these people are not going to be all staying in droves when you see these idiots who just won't leave me alone. There's black clouds circling my head, and I didn't even create it. I'm not doing the things anymore that would even create that content.
You see what he said? I didn't even create it. Then he said, I'm not doing the things anymore that would create that content. So you did create it, Phil. That's why I say, man, you are not smart enough to talk as much as you do, man. Because all you end up doing eventually is telling on yourself, because you run out of things to say because your life is so uneventful. And eventually you start to recycle the same fluff, but then you start saying it in different ways and you slip up or have a Freudian slip. And then you end up telling on yourself, man. That's why I say you're recording yourself far too much. You have too many podcasts. Your podcast is starting way too late. There's no reason why the sun should be all the way up and you are still sleeping. That is disgusting. You're a grown man. Get your ass up. You talk so much about schedules and all this other stuff, but you're super inefficient. There's no reason why your streams cannot start at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. That way you can have a lunchtime akin to everyone else's around the same time that the rest of the world is having lunch. Then you can come back and finish out your last couple hours for your night stream, and be done somewhere around 4 or 5 o'clock. Then you got the rest of the evening with your family. But you don't want to do that because you want to be up all night drinking and finding the next thing to be pissed off about. About these detractors that you claim you know nothing about and according to you are not affecting you. But here you are talking about them again.
They just do it anyway because they're getting paid for it. Let's see here. There were some kicks that I missed. Ed BR did 500 kicks. He says, you're a legend. Detractors ride your coattails. I mean, it's been like that for a very long time. I mean, at this point, again, they would not exist without me. They literally are parasocial. They know that if I were deciding to turn off my camera and never broadcast again, they would literally disappear overnight. No one would care about.
You say that like that's a revelatory thing. No shit, Phil. People have detractor channels that are based on detracting on you. You're not saying anything crazy. That's like saying, I need to drink water. I mean, of course you do. I mean, you're not saying anything. He acts like he's making some type of profound statement. Every YouTube channel has a focus. That's why it's called a channel. Even when you look back at when cable networks were offering cable packages, they always had a focus. The sports package, this channel, the gardening channel. No, each channel had a focus. That's the entire point. You said nothing.
Like, it was actually funny. The last week during that stream when I didn't have internet, I actually got contacted. I talk to people behind the scenes and you guys don't know about it. All right. But I have people I talk to that you would never believe that I talk to, but I do. So this one guy, he actually messages me.
I guarantee you he's talking about Boogie. Guaranteed.
Okay. And he goes, so your internet's out today. What do you think all your detractors are doing? Do you think they actually went outside and touched grass today? Do you think maybe some of them went out and, like, I don't know, had a human interaction, or maybe went to a sports game, or, what did they do? Because all they do when you stream is they just clip you nonstop. They're literally there watching you every waking moment, and you couldn't stream today because your internet was down. What do you think they did today? Yeah, you're right. I wonder what they did there.
I think the real question is, why are you talking about detractors with someone else on your day off? Shouldn't you be spending time with your wife? Why are you worrying about what your detractors are doing when they're not detracting on you? But you talk about other people being parasocial. I guarantee you detractors are on your mind more than your own damn wife. And it's evident because you got all these things in your office so you can be contrary, quote unquote, to what the detractors are saying about you, yet Cat hasn't gotten a honeymoon. What's really going on, Phil? So that tells you what's at the forefront of your mind. And this is why you'll never progress, because you look at detractors as a monolith. And instead of looking at things and looking at the message and what people are saying, because if you actually paid attention, and practically apply some of the stuff that people have been saying about you over the years, you'll be in a much better place right now. But as usual, the only voice that you want to listen to is your own. Even when people are in your chat trying to tell you the things that you should do, all you want to see people say is what you're already thinking. And that's part of the reason why you'll always be in the place that you're in. So it doesn't matter how many microphones you buy, how many lights you get, and how many megapixels your camera is. At the end of the day, it'll still be shit. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.